You've signed on for another edition of the King's Castle. I'm King James. I'll be your host for the next hour of wrestling news and entertainment news and whatever else you want to know. And here to help me break it down, as always, is my fun-loving colleague, the always reliable and rarely shy Blair Chopin.
Hey guys.
Blair, good evening.
Good evening.
And we've got to talk about what has been a very newsworthy week as far as professional wrestling is concerned. Mainly because we experienced the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. And I'll tell you, this past Sunday that is, and I'll tell you, they used everything but the kitchen sink on that show. And we're going to go over the card from top to bottom, talk about the action, as well as give you some news about the fallout on tonight's show and many more. But to start off, I want to talk about the match between Chris Jericho and Dean Ambrose. The match I referred to as the Asylum match last week. I'll tell you, Chris Jericho and Ambrose really made this match live up to its name because they literally used everything but the kitchen sink in the match.
Is there going to be like a kitchen sink match at SummerSlam?
I don't.
You keep mentioning the kitchen sink.
I
think we would love that.
It's an expression.
It could be like a buried.
Go with it.
It could be like a buried alive match, except you're putting people in the kitchen sink.
That is inhuman.
I like it. ECW.
But anyway, ultimately, those two went back and forth with the weapons, and in the end, Dean Ambrose used a burlap sack full of thumbtacks, which he found inside a mop bucket of all places, to hit the dirty deeds on Jericho for the pin. Now, my question to you, Blair, is this.
What you got?
I mean, obviously we knew this match was going to be crazy, but we never expected anything of that nature, because we've never seen anything like that since Mick Foley was around. So, do you really think they lived up to the hype?
I do. I think they did a really good job. I think Jericho's a great guy for the match because, he was part of the more hardcore era, the more TV-14 era, and I think given the restrictions with the TV PG rating, I think they pushed the envelope about as far as they can go without pushing someone in the envelope, and I think they did a really good job. I think that's about the best you can expect with given the rating. And I thought the event itself, a hardcore event with a TV PG rating doesn't usually mesh well, because if you can't have a kid-friendly event and be like hardcore and really violent. But I thought they did generally well, and I thought that was kind of the showcase match for that.
I think you may be right. And in some of the other matches, we saw the New Day successfully defend the tag title.
Booty-O's!
The tag titles against the Vaudevillains, and yes, indeed, Booty-O's, they make sure you ain't booty. But we actually saw the crowning of a new U.S. champion in Rusev when he defeated Kalisto. And because of that, tonight on SmackDown, Kalisto gets his rematch against Rusev. So that will be very exciting in and of itself.
Very cool.
Now,
very cool.
And Dolph Ziggler was defeated by Baron Corbin on the kickoff show. So that was a pretty easygoing way to start off. And Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson faced the Usos in a tornado tag, which ultimately Gallows and Anderson won despite the match breaking down.
Come on.
But another big storyline, in my opinion, was the submission match between Charlotte and Natalya for the Women's Championship. Now, as you know, Ric Flair was banned from ringside for this match by Shane McMahon. And I gotta say, with the Nature Boy not out there, it made for a better match if you want to see a clear-cut winner. But I will say there was a little bit of controversy right at the end, because right as Natalya was about to go for the sharpshooter, we hear Ric Flair's music. And one of our newer divas, Dana Brooke, walks out there wearing Ric Flair's robe. And that's enough to distract Natalya long enough for Charlotte to roll her up and lock on the figure eight for the tap out victory. So, without question, Charlotte had a plan in her back pocket, but that's going too far. If you ask me.
Why?
What do you think about that, Blair?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really agree with banning the Nate from ringside, because I want the Nature Boy involved in as many things as possible in my life. I wish he was there when I was depositing checks at the bank and just was like, woo! And I wish he was there when I was drinking adult beverages and was just like, woo. I want him involved in as many aspects of my life as possible. And as far as the plot line with Charlotte having a rivalry with her father, I called that here.
Well,
hold on, James.
We'll talk about.
I called it.
We'll talk about that in a second. We gotta move on.
I called it. I just wanted the people to
control yourself. Control yourself.
But I did call it.
We'll talk about that in a second.
But anyway, the new woman, Tyra Banks or whatever her name is, interfering with.
Her name is Dana Brooke.
Dana Bryant, interfering with the Nature's music. I mean, that's all well and good.
Now,
but it's
also
the whole point was to set up, I think, her rivalry with Rick. Okay, the Nate.
It's not a rivalry, but I'll get to that in a minute because it's very personal for me.
Person.
And I'll explain why in a moment, or probably in the next part. But for now, we got to talk about the main event from Extreme Rules. It was Roman Reigns defending it in an Extreme Rules match against AJ Styles. And I'll tell you, in my opinion, this match lived up to the hype. But the biggest surprise was what happened after the match. Because Roman Reigns was victorious and was able to retain the title, but I think he may have just seen his future after the match, because he was attacked by the returning Seth Rollins. Yes, after 6 months on the shelf, the architect, Seth Rollins, is back. He delivered a pedigree to Roman Reigns in the middle of the ring and held up the belt. So that means, thanks to Shane McMahon, that on June 19th, at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, we will see Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins for the WWE World Championship. Now, what about that?
I mean, it's huge for the WWE. It's absolutely huge. Because I've been saying for probably about a year now that they can't market themselves on nostalgia. They can't keep bringing back these guys and expect them to be main event guys when they're in their 50s. Now they have two huge stars that they can market on. A huge heel. One of the greatest heels I've ever seen in Rollins, and a guy that's growing in popularity in Reigns, Styles. They have the nucleus there to move in what they're calling the old era. So that was huge.
And my thing is, these two have already...
two main eventers.
And my thing is, these two have already proven that they have great chemistry, because they've gone at it one-on-one and as tag team partners in numerous matches in the past. So this has the makings of an instant classic.
You're absolutely right.
In my opinion.
You're absolutely right.
But we're gonna take a little time out, and when we come back, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the fallout from Raw, because I'll tell you something, there was some big storylines this past week.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll be back in a moment. That was really good. That was really good. Good job.
Did you cut off?
No.